thing is that to me, it's not a one or the other, but it's an and. The only way that naming your number really makes sense to do is as a starting point for people who are unclear about where they're at financially, so they can have one single target of what they're working towards. But the targets can grow, right? Your target number today might be, well, it costs me $10,000 a month to live with a little bit of emergency savings. So my number is 10,000. But when I sit down and I create my dream life vision and I answer those questions that you're talking about, and I get clear, like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to help? Why is this important? What difference do I want to make in the world? What gives me energy? And like, what emotions do I want to feel? Wow. Well, maybe that number might be different, or maybe more importantly, I'm going to be focused on doing those things that fill me up. And in the end, you end up finding that you're able to create so much more wealth and income when you're actually in that place of alignment. For a lot of people, though, they need that. They're so focused on that scarcity. They're so focused on what they don't have that when they can target, well, okay, well, at least I'm clear on this. And so now I can actually step aside to get clear on what matters most, which is what you're talking about.
That's exactly it. And so when we focus on just doing those things, the money always comes. Those things it'll just come because you're being productive, because we're creating. And so then that freedom number is not such a big deal, because as you said, it's happiness. And as long as it's reciprocating itself, and it will, then that it just kind of takes care of itself. Now, I don't want to sound like, so what's the word, spiritual, spooky, or any of that kind of stuff, that if you just do the right thing, the right things will happen. But if you just do the right things will always happen.
Man, it's funny because a lot of people are allergic to that spirituality, but when you actually get down to it, whether you're talking about God or oneness or the universe or Christianity or Judaism or you're atheist, whatever it is, when you can connect to that understanding that when you do the right thing, when you live in alignment with who you were naturally meant to be, a lot of amazing things happen. Stuff just starts showing up.
It's that alignment with who you were made to be. And when you can figure that part out, and it may be as simple as understanding what you like to do, because sometimes those likes kind of go along with our purpose, sometimes. And probably innately. They probably really do, if we just peel back the onion far enough and ask the right questions. So I hadn't had one of these kind of conversations in a long time.
I think it's really beneficial because it's like so oftentimes we get so caught up in the idea of our business or our job or what's that next investment strategy that's going to get them there. And guess what? I can, and I'm sure you can as well. We can both teach people a lot of stuff about how to get into that place. But ironically, if you get this stuff clear while you're learning the skills and knowledge, some really amazing things happen. But because we're on this topic, I'm curious, like you're at a point where I feel like a lot of people are at. They're at a point where they're looking to figure out like what's important in their life, and you're defining it. So tell us a little bit about what is that vision for the life that you're creating? What are those things that you're doing? How are you helping people? What are you looking to build? Not only from the business standpoint, I'd love to hear about that. I think the audience would as well, but also from a personal standpoint, because I think at the end of the day, that's really what we're talking about matters.
It is. That freedom of doing only what I want to do, and what I want to do right now. And it started more so with what am I good at? And so, and we're talking about work first, and work and life kind of correlate. So he asked me, Alvin, what are you good at? I said, I know, but I don't really know. Because sometimes the things that we find very easy to do, you may not put that much value on them. He said, well, let me tell you what I know about you and what you're good at. He said, and then we're going to pick up the phone and we're going to call 4 other people and ask them the same thing. That was kind of scary. But when we got the second person on the phone, I said, hey, do you love me? Yeah, I love you. Okay, good. You're going to answer these questions with Darren, and I need you to just be as honest as you can. Nothing that you say will affect our relationship, I promise. And so he asked, what is Alvin good at? And what are his weaknesses? Between the 4 other people, all 5 answers were consistent. I mean, almost to the T. He had to ask a couple of questions to get down to to the nitty gritty on a couple of them because they were real apprehensive about the weakness side. But we got there. And so me now understanding what I thought I was good at and understanding what other people see me being good at, that kind of solidified how I felt about me. And so now that I know I'm good at that, I really like it. So how can I do just that in my business? And so if I'm doing just that at work, then I'm happier when I go home. I'm happier when I'm around other people. And so I'm not really affected by some of the other things because I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. And so by having that part solidified, now what it does is I believe that because in work we're building a team and building a company and all this stuff to support other organizations as a consulting company, all the things that I am not good at or I don't want to do, the universe, God, whatever you believe, those people will navigate to us because we're doing what we're supposed to believe. We're doing what we're good at and what we're supposed to be doing. And we believe that way, and it really, really does happen. And so people ask me, what do I do? Well, as a profession, we develop workforce and affordable housing. But what I really believe I do is I create opportunities for people. So I create opportunities for associates to come work with me. I create opportunities for contractors to build for us. I create opportunities for high net worth individuals to earn double-digit returns on their money. I create opportunities for families that need housing to live in a great, safe, decent environment. So everything I do is, like I said, we're creating whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not. So those are the things that I love to create. So when I'm doing those things, creating those things, it puts me in a place of being happy, of free, of just being my ideal self. So when I go home, my ideal life is the same way because I've been doing everything that I want to do. And so when I bring people into my sphere, when they come into my sphere, if they have the opportunity to do only what they want to do, then look at what kind of environment we've created. We've got an environment where everybody's happy, everybody's free, everybody's doing only what they want to do. Sometimes we have to do what we have to do, right? We just got to do it. But when you can kind of design a system around doing only those things and have everybody else on the team doing that same thing, and then you hire out the other things that you have to do, then it just makes work so much more pleasant. And so I've taken that same thing home. And now at home, I only do what I want to do. Everybody at home only does what they want to do. And we hire out for what we don't want to do. And that has created opportunity for somebody else to do what they like to do as well. Whether that's the yard man, whether that's a cook, whether that whoever that is. We've created another opportunity for somebody else to do something. So it is freed up the freedom that I get from doing that at work and at home. It has just created a totally different life. And so now I believe that us creating this kind of life will allow me to create the opportunity that I wanted to have 20,000 affordable units, workforce housing units in the next 5 years. And so guess how many people we get to help by creating those opportunities? All of these families that'll live there, all of the associates that'll work for the construction companies that build these units, all the finance people that'll help us finance these things. I mean, that's a ripple effect that'll go on for years and years and years and years and years. And I get to be the one that kind of thought about that and walk this thing out. And I get to do it with people that get to do only what they want to do. And so it's really so dynamic to have that kind of thought process now as I enter the best part of my life. What do you think about that?
I feel like to really look back at some of those key things that you shared about there, Alvin, is you're really talking about getting clear on what you want and why you want it, what you want from your life. And with part of that is, what are you really good at? What are you good at? What are you not good at? What gives you energy? What takes it away? And when you can get clear on that, when you can actually step into that and ask yourself the questions honestly and open up to other people in your life, or bring in a coach or a mentor who can do that so that they can feel a little bit more comfortable sharing the things that are challenges or weaknesses, because a lot of people don't want to tell you something that they think might hurt you. But at the same time, it's so valuable to be able to hear it, because when you can be honest with yourself, when you can have that self-awareness, you can then make decisions from that place. And when you tie that in, just to summarize what you said, to tie that into this idea of just being who you were meant to be, and having that intention and that vision of what you're creating in your life, you then invite other people into your world who are able to then live that same style of living and really enjoy what they do because they're really good at it and they get a lot from it, and they're able to get you closer to that end outcome of, you know, making a huge impact in the world, helping all of these tens of thousands of families that live in your units, or all the people who kind of trickle down the line from that business and all the benefit that it brings. I love that.
That's a fact. And so, man, I mean, I feel like I'm in the best season of my life right now. And, you know, the real estate market is challenging. It's, you know, our interest rates have gone up. We've got insurance going up 200, 300% on some properties. I mean, everything that you can imagine is going on in the economy, and, you know, people not being able to pay rent. Some people can. And those things, if we worried about those things, man, we would just not have a good life. And now that we have the ability to just set this thing on just doing the best we can do across the board, being the best we can be. One of my other good friends said, as we get better, it gets better. As we get better, everything in our influence gets better. Everything we see gets better. Everybody we know get better, because we have seen it from a better position. And so I'm just striving to always become that better person, and as I get better, it all gets better.
It's so true, and I think we've really been having this conversation at a very high frequency, a very high level. We're talking from a place that I hope many of you who are listening are understanding and can relate to, and if you can't, even better, because there's an opportunity to be able to say, I wonder what's going on there. I wonder how he got to that place of thinking like that, and really change his mindset. And with the investor mindset, we talk a lot about the importance of shifting the way that you think, stepping into a new way of thinking. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about here, Alvin. And so for those folks who aren't super familiar, I think you have a really inspiring story of coming into the real estate space. A lot of times when people hear folks that, you know, own commercial real estate and own tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate, they can sometimes look and say, hey.
Thank you for listening to the Investor Mindset Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share with a friend. Head over to theinvestormindset.com to join the Insider Club, where we share tools and strategies from the top investors and entrepreneurs on how to take it to the next level.